Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. We are in the chapter waves and sound, and today we are going to study about the standing waves. So a standing wave is formed. A standing wave is formed when two identical waves traveling in the opposite directions in the opposite directions along the same line interfere. So basically a standing wave is formed when two identical waves means the waves having the same frequency and nearly equal amplitude, and they are traveling in opposite directions, and finally when they superimpose they will give rise to a wave that is known as a standing wave. Now let's see this standing wave, the concept of a standing wave with the help of this diagram. So now suppose we have two sources here, two sources are there. This is your source S1. From here one disturbance is produced and now it is traveling in, or it is traveling along positive direction. We have another source of disturbance. We can take another source of disturbance here, S2, and from this disturbance S2, or S2 is another source of the wave. Now from this source of disturbance S1, one wave is generated and it is traveling in this positive direction like this. Okay, it is traveling like this. And similarly we have another wave and it is coming from the source S2. Both the waves are identical, their amplitude is nearly same, and they are traveling opposite to each other. Another wave, it is coming from S2 and it is traveling along negative x-axis, and finally they are superimposing at some point, suppose P, at this point P. So when they will superimpose at point P, they are traveling opposite to each other, then they will produce a wave. The wave is known as standing wave. In this direction it is traveling opposite direction. Both are traveling opposite to each other. So one wave, it is traveling along this direction. This direction we can take. It is traveling along positive x direction. And another wave, it is traveling opposite to this. It is traveling along negative x direction. And they are meeting at some point P. We can take, they are meeting at some point P. When they will interfere at point P, they will give rise to a wave that is known as a standing wave. So let the displacement of the particles of the wave that is produced from S1 at point P, I am taking it y1 is equal to a1 into sine of kx minus omega t, since it is traveling along positive x-axis, so kx minus omega t. This will be your equation number 1. This is the equation of a wave which is traveling along positive x-axis, and the wave which is traveling along negative x-axis, it will be equal to y2 is equal to a2 into sine of kx plus omega t. This is the equation of the wave which is traveling along negative x-axis. Now applying the principle of superposition, if we will apply the principle of superposition, applying the principle of superposition, when they will interfere at point P or when they will superimpose at point P, the resultant displacement y, or the displacement produced at point P, it will be vector sum of the displacements of the individual waves, that is y1 plus y2 according to the principle of superposition. So now we can find out the equation of displacement of the particle at point P when the waves coming from S1 and S2 they are superimposed at point P. So y will be equal to y1, y1 is equal to a1 sine of kx minus omega t plus a2 into sine of kx plus omega t. Now let us take this condition. If a1 is equal to a2 means amplitude of both the waves because they are identical waves. So let us assume a1 is equal to a2 amplitude of both the waves. Okay, it is equal to suppose AC. Then this equation will be modified as y is equal to a sine of kx minus omega t plus a into sine of kx plus omega t. Now we are going to simplify this equation. A is common to both the terms, so we can take it out. So y will be equal to a, and the equation will look like this: sine of kx minus omega t plus sine of kx plus omega t. Now let us assume kx minus omega t as a and kx plus omega t as b. Then this is the form of sine c plus sine d. Now we are going to use one identity. In case of trigonometry, this is the identity. Okay. Now let us take this sine c plus sine d. The formula of sine c plus sine d, we are going to use this formula sine c plus sine d. Let us assume this c is equal to here. Let me assume this kx minus omega t is equal to c and kx plus omega t it is equal to d. So this equation is basically of the form sine c plus sine d. Now we are going to reduce this expression. Okay, the formula of sine c plus sine d we are going to use. So when we will use the expression, this expression will reduce to y is equal to a into sine of c plus sine c plus sine d I am going to use. Basically sine c plus sine d it is equal to 2 into sine c plus d by 2 into cos c minus d by 2. Okay, here it will be cos c minus d by 2. So I use this formula cos of c is kx minus omega t minus d. It will be equal to minus kx minus omega t divided by 2. This is the formula of sine c plus sine d. This formula I have used. Sine c plus sine d it is equal to 2 into sine of c plus d by 2 into sine of c minus d by 2. I have used this formula. And using this formula I have simplified this equation. So now this equation will look like as y is equal to a into 2 this kx minus omega t kx 2x kx omega t will be cancelled out, then it will become 2 into sine of kx plus kx 2 kx divided by 2, it will become kx only, and kx minus kx it will be cancelled out, and omega t minus omega t divided by 2, it will be omega t. Cos minus theta is equal to cos theta, so it will be simply equals to cos of omega t. Okay, and if we will rearrange this equation, the equation will look like this: y is equal to 2a into sine of kx into cos of omega t. So clearly we can see this is the equation of the wave, a standing wave. Okay, now this is the equation of the standing wave we have obtained. When two waves moving in the opposite direction, identical waves moving in opposite direction, when they will superimpose, this is the resultant displacement of the particle, and the wave is known as a standing wave. So basically this is giving you the equation of a standing wave. So this is the equation of a standing wave. Now why this equation is standing wave? The question is Why this wave is known as standing wave. Okay, so clearly you can see, if you will rearrange this equation, 2a into sine kx, because this equation is not of the form y is a function of x and t. Clearly if you will rearrange this, then this equation will become y is equal to 2 into a sine of kx. This is representing the amplitude part, and you can clearly see that this amplitude is changing with x, and we have this function of time cos of omega t. So clearly we can see that this y is not a function of x here. X means the wave propagation. You can see it there. That's why this wave is known as a standing wave. Okay, simple wave. Or if you will write down like this equation, like let me take this equation as a naught, then y will become a naught. It will be a constant cos of omega t. Okay, where a naught is equal to 2a into cos of omega t. So clearly you can see it there. A naught is a constant here. It will be function of x. Amplitude will be a function of. Clearly you can see that y is a function of time, but y is not a function of x. X means displacement along x-axis. Okay, means wave is not moving. Only particle is oscillating at point P, and the disturbance is not moving. The means wave is not moving. That's why it is non-progressive wave or standing wave. But y is not a function of time, sorry, a function of x here. That's why this wave is known as a standing wave. Now we will see some terms related to this standing wave. First we are going to define amplitude. Clearly you can see that this amplitude a is changing. Suppose a naught we have written, a naught is giving you the amplitude or the displacement or the maximum displacement of the particles of the standing wave amplitude, and it is equal to 2a into sine of kx. Clearly we can see that this amplitude is a sine function. Okay, so it will take its maximum value equals to 2a because the maximum value of sine function is 1. Okay, so now we are going to define two important points in case of standing wave. One is known as node and other is known as antinode. So first, what is node? Okay, node. So the point at which the amplitude of the standing wave is zero is known as position of node. Is known as position of node because at the node the vibration will be minimum, means vibration of the particles will be restricted. Now we are going to define this point. So we have find out the amplitude of the wave a naught. Amplitude of standing wave, it is given by a naught is equal to 2a into sine of kx, and this value must be equal to 0. So we can write down 2a sine kx, it will be equal to 0. Okay, now 2a cannot be 0, so we can write down sine of kx is equal to 0. And if you will rearrange this equation, if you will generalize this equation can be modified as, because amplitude cannot be 0, this 2a cannot be equal to 0. Okay, 2 is a number, it cannot be 0. So sine kx, it is equal to sine of 2 and pi. We can write down one number. I am taking integer, n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. If you will put n is equal to 0, 2 into 0, 0, sine 0 is equal to 0. Take n is equal to 1, 2 into 1, 2 pi, sine 2 pi is equal to 1, sorry 0. And all the even numbers or odd numbers of pi, any number of pi, basically let me take n pi only in case of any number, n pi, it will be equal to 0. For any number of pi, integral multiple of pi, sign is always 0. So sign of n is the integer. Now if you will just consider the angle only, then we can write down kx must be equal to n pi, or here we can find out the position x, then value of x will be equal to n pi by k, and we know k is a wave number, it is a constant that is known as propagation constant. It is basically equal to 2 pi by lambda, so we can write down 2 pi by lambda, pi cancel, so it will become n lambda by 2. So x is giving you the position of nodes, x, it is giving you the position of nodes in a standing wave, position of nodes, that is equal to n lambda by 2, where n is the integer, n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, any number you can take. Now just take n is equal to 0, then the value of x you can obtain. First n is equal to 0, 0 is equal to 1, it will become lambda by 2. Take n is equal to 2, it will become lambda. Take n is equal to 3, it will become 3 lambda by 2, and take similarly n for nth, it will be equal to n lambda by 2. So this is giving you the position of nodes, position of nodes. Okay, simply you need to remember here, node is the point at which the amplitude of the standing wave is 0. Okay, now we are going to define the antinode. Antinode, just opposite of it, the amplitude will be maximum. So next point in this standing wave is antinode. Antinode. So the points at which amplitude of a standing wave is maximum is called antinode. Now we can define the position of antinodes. So now the amplitude of the standing wave is given by a naught is equal to 2a into sine of kx. Okay, it must be maximum, it will be maximum only when, and this amplitude which will be maximum when sine will take its maximum, when sine of kx, the maximum value of sine function, it is equal to plus 1. Okay, and now we can write down this value, sine of kx 1, because sine is a periodic function, so first value of 1 you are getting at pi by 2, so we can write down 2n plus 1 pi by 2. Just we can generalize this equation where n is the integer starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, anything. Take n is equal to 0, it will become pi by 2. So sine of pi by 2, it is equal to 1. Then take n is equal to 1, 2 into 1, 2 plus 1, 3 pi by 2, sine 3 pi by 2, it is again 1, 370 degree, minus 1, it is in negative direction. So here again amplitude will be maximum. When you will compare the angle, then kx will become 2n plus 1 pi by 2, and from here we can find out the position of antinode. Then x will become 2n plus 1 pi by 2k. Okay, just put the value of k, then you will get the position of antinode here. So it will become 2n plus 1 pi divided by 2k. Put the value of k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. Okay, so pi cancel, it will become 2n plus 1, lambda will be in the numerator, and 2 into 2 it will become 4. So x will give you the position of antinodes. Now x will be equal to 2n plus 1 into lambda by 4, where n is your integer starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this up to n. Okay, so x is giving you the position of antinodes now. So this is giving you the position of antinode, position of antinodes. Okay, now you can get the position of antinodes just by putting the value of n is equal to 0. If you will put n is equal to 0, it will become lambda by 4, first position of antinode. Take n is equal to 1, then it will become 2 into 2 plus 1, 3 lambda by 4. Okay, take n is equal to 2, it will become 5 lambda by 4, and so on. It will be equal to 2n plus 1 lambda by 4. So these are giving you the position of antinodes. Now we will see what will be the distance between two consecutive nodes and antinodes. So we have find out the position of nodes. Now what will be the distance between two consecutive nodes and antinodes? Let me define here. Now we are going to find out the distance between two consecutive nodes. Distance between any two consecutive nodes. Between two consecutive nodes. What will be the distance? So just take any value, or you can take the generalized value. The position of nodes and antinodes, just I've defined the position of nodes, you can see it there. Let me again go back to the nodes. You can see it there. X is equal to n lambda by 2. So for nth, n lambda by 2, and another is 2n plus 1 lambda by 4 for antinode. Distance between any two consecutive nodes, we can take any value. First I am taking n lambda by 2, okay, for the nth position of node, and just before that you can take n minus 1 lambda by 2. If you will solve this expression, it will become basically n lambda by 2 and lambda by 2 cancel, and it will become minus lambda by 2 plus it is lambda by 2. The distance between two consecutive node and antinode is lambda by 2. No. Let me just define. Just take any two positions. Basically, it will be lambda by 2. Okay. Let me take a simple example. Okay, the first node is obtained at x is equal to 0. The second node is obtained at lambda by 2. And calculate what will be the position between, what will be the distance between two nodes. Okay, so second node is obtained at lambda by 2 and first node is obtained at 0. So basically directly we can calculate, it will be equal to lambda by 2. Similarly we can calculate distance between two consecutive, किसी को दो पकड़ लो, two consecutive antinode. So it will be equal to second antinode position is 3 lambda by 4 minus lambda by 4. It will become 2 lambda by 4. It will be equal to lambda by 2. So you can see that the distance between any two consecutive node and antinode, it is basically equal to lambda by 2, where lambda is the wavelength. Similarly, we can calculate the distance between a node and subsequent antinode. Okay, distance between node, between node and a subsequent antinode. Okay, so just let me take the first antinode. The first antinode is obtained at lambda by 4 minus first node is obtained at 0. So lambda by 4 minus 0, it will be equal to lambda by 4. So distance between subsequent node and antinode, it will be equal to lambda by 4. where lambda is the wavelength. So this is a basic idea about the standing wave. We have seen the equation of the standing wave, and we have find out the position of nodes and antinodes by defining the nodes and antinodes. Now we will see the standing wave in a string, how we can produce the standing wave in a string. So the next topic is standing wave in a string. Next topic is standing wave, standing wave in a string. So let us consider a string which is tied from both ends, and now oscillations is given. Now we can define 2 points here. Let me take between these 2 points one string is tied. This is the string, you can see it there. This is your string. Now let me tie one string here. Okay, this string is tied between these 2 points and vibration is given. Okay, so these are fixed, this string is fixed between 2 points, and now when it will vibrate, okay, now it will go like this, up and down it will move. Oh, you can see it there. Okay, it will move up and it will move down. You can see it there, where the amplitude of the wave is minimum and where it is maximum. Suppose L is the length of the string. I am taking the length of the string to be L. Let me take length of the string to be L. L is the length of the string here. Okay. Now we can easily see the standing wave in this string. So let us consider a string of length L, a string of length L, a string of length L is stressed between 2 points, when a string is set into vibration, when this string is set into vibration, when string is set into vibration, a transverse progressive wave begins to travel. A transverse progressive wave begins to travel along the string, along the string, along the string. Now it is reflected at the other fixed end. It is reflected from or at other fixed end. The incident and the reflected wave interfere. The incident and reflected wave interfere to produce a stationary wave, transverse wave, a stationary transverse wave in which the ends are always nodes. The ends are always nodes. You can see it there. Here the endpoints, these are the endpoints. These endpoints will be always nodes, n and n. These will be always nodes. The fixed point will be always nodes, because at the fixed points the vibration of the particles will be restricted and the vibration will be zero. Means oscillation will be zero, then displacement of particles at the fixed point it will be zero. That's why the endpoints of the string between which it is fixed, uh, that will be always a position of nodes there. Now in the simplest form, the string vibrates in one loop, just I have shown you in the above case. So we are going to define the different situations here. Thus in the simplest form, first I am taking case A. Let me take first case. This is your case A. In simplest form of vibration, in simplest form, the string vibrates, the string vibrates in one loop. You can see it there, only one loop is formed, one loop in which the ends are nodes, the ends are nodes, and the center is antinode, and the center is antinode. This mode of vibration is known as this mode of vibration is known as fundamental frequency, or fundamental mode of vibration is known as fundamental mode, and the frequency of vibration is known as fundamental frequency is known as fundamental frequency or first harmonic, okay. So in the simplest form, this string will vibrate in one loop where the end points are always the nodes and center will be anternode, that is shown in the figure. So such type of mode of vibration is known as fundamental mode of vibration, and the frequency of vibration in this case it is known as fundamental frequency or first harmonic. Since we have calculated, since the distance between consecutive nodes is lambda by 2, now we know the distance between nodes, consecutive nodes. Now since we know, we can write down, since the distance between, you can see it there in the diagram, the distance between two consecutive nodes or antinode, two consecutive nodes, it is equal to lambda by 2, and this distance between two nodes in this first loop it is equal to L. So basically we can write down L is equal to lambda 1 by 2. Lambda 1 it is giving the wavelength in first mode of vibration, so lambda 1 by 2 we can write down. Now and from here we can calculate the wavelength, then lambda 1 will be equal to 2L, where L is the length of the string here. Now if F1 is the fundamental mode of frequency, if I will take, if F1 is equal to frequency of fundamental mode of vibration, fundamental mode of vibration, then we know the relationship between frequency, speed and wavelength. Then velocity of transverse wave, then we can calculate. Then velocity of transverse wave in this fundamental mode, then velocity of transverse wave is given as velocity is equal to frequency lambda 1 and its wavelength lambda 1 and its frequency f1. So from here we can calculate the velocity. Velocity v will be equal to lambda 1, just put of lambda 1 is equal to 2l and frequency f1. Now from here we can calculate the frequency of fundamental mode. F1 will be equal to v by 2l. So now we have calculated the frequency of fundamental mode of vibration, or simply the frequency of first harmonic you can say, or the first harmonic, simply you can say it there. Okay, now we are moving to the second mode. Now we will see the second mode of vibration. So the same string can vibrate in under the same conditions in two loops. Okay, let me draw the diagram first. This is the second case. We have one string and this string is tied between 2 points. Okay, these are the 2 points between which one string is tied and set into vibration. This is your string basically. This is our string. It is fixed between these 2 points and now it is set into vibration. So under same condition that I have applied in the previous case, now it can vibrate in 2 loops now. Okay, it can vibrate in 2 loops like this. Okay, it can vibrate in 2 loops. Then such type of vibration, it is known as second mode of vibration. Here you can see they are the endpoints. The endpoints are always node, and the length of the string, same condition I have taken. That length of the string is equal to L, and these are the nodes. Node, 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 and here the amplitude is maximum, so here antinode will be there, AN will be there. Here also maximum amplitude is visible there, so it will be the position of antinode. You can see it there. So now we can write down like this. We can give this mode of vibration like the same string, this same string that we have seen in the previous case, the same string under the same conditions, under the same conditions may also vibrate in 2 loops, such that center is also the node. Center of this point or center of this loop, center is also a node that I have shown in the diagram. Okay, so in this case I can say, suppose lambda 2 is the wavelength of this mode of vibration. So now if the wavelength, in this case I am taking lambda 2 and this wavelength, because 2 loops are formed there and we know the distance between 2 nodes is, it is equal to basically lambda by 2, distance between 2 nodes. Okay, so this will be equal to your lambda by distance between 2 nodes, you can sit there, lambda by 2, and again between these 2 nodes it will be equal to lambda by 2. But this is another mode of vibration, so in this case I am taking the wavelength is equal to lambda 2, second mode of vibration, lambda 2 lambda by 2. So basically this whole length of the string, what is the whole length of the string? We have already taken the whole length of the string, it is equal to L. So basically within this length, basically you are getting two loops, and within one loop what is the distance? Lambda by 2. So basically this distance will be equal to how much? It will be equal to lambda by 2 multiplied with 2, and this will be equal to L. So length L will be equal to 2 into lambda by 2, and from here we can calculate the wavelength. Lambda 2, it will be equal to how much? It will be equal to simply L. Now if F2, okay, if F2 is the frequency of vibration, if F2 is the frequency of vibration in this particular case, basically this frequency of vibration is known as second harmonic. Second harmonic. Then the wave velocity we can calculate. Then velocity of transverse wave, velocity of transverse wave can be given as, is given by, we know velocity is equal to frequency into wavelength. So now we can calculate the velocity. Then velocity V will be equal to frequency F2 into its wavelength lambda 2. Okay, so from here V will be equal to F2 into lambda 2, it is equal to, and from here we can calculate the frequency F2. F2 will be equal to V by L. Then this frequency, it is known as second harmonic or first overtone. It is also known as first overtone, and this mode of vibration is known as second mode of vibration. Simple. Okay, now same explanation we can give under same condition. The string can vibrate in three loops like this. You can see it there. Suppose we have these 2 points, point 1 and point 2, and between these 2 points one string is tied. This is your string, and now it is set into vibration. Now we are taking the third condition. Now it is vibrating in such a way that it is forming 3 loops here. Okay, these are the 3 loops, you can see it there. 1, loop number 2, and finally loop number 3. Okay, 3 loops are formed here. Nodes we can define from the diagram, easily you can see there. Okay, and between any two consecutive nodes, what is the length, what is the distance? The distance between any two consecutive nodes, it is equal to lambda by 2. In this mode of vibration, suppose wavelength I am taking lambda by 3, sorry, lambda 3, and the distance between any two consecutive node is basically lambda by 2, and here 3 nodes are formed. So 3 into lambda 3 by 2, it will be in the length L. So we have calculated, and from here we can calculate the wavelength. In this case, lambda 3, it will be equal to 2L by 3. Okay, and if F3 is the frequency in this case, then frequency we can calculate, or a speed we can calculate. A speed is equal to frequency. In this case I am taking F3 and taking lambda 3. So here, from here we can calculate the frequency F3. It will be equal to V by lambda 3, and we can put the value of lambda 3. So V by lambda 3, it is equal to 2L by 3, and we can calculate, now it will be equal to 3V by 2L. So this frequency, it is known as second overtone. Second overtone, or it is known as third harmonic, basically third harmonic, second overtone. Similarly, we can analyze for 4 loop, 5th loop. In this way we can define. Thus a stage string is in addition to fundamental mode also vibrates with frequency which are integral multiples of the fundamental frequency. These frequencies are known as harmonics. So हम लोग what we have seen when a string is a stage between 2 points, so apart from fundamental mode, it can also vibrate with frequencies which are integral multiple of fundamental frequency. These are known as harmonics. We can rearrange like this also. Now just what we have discussed, let me see. So frequency F1 we have calculated. F1 is equal to, we have calculated F1 is equal to V by 2L. Okay, 1 into V by 2L we can write down, or 1 multiplied with V by 2L. Second frequency we have calculated, F2 is equal to V by L simply, or you can write down 2 into V by 2L. F3 we have calculated, F3 it is equal to 3V by 2L, or we can write down 3 multiplied with V by 2L. And similarly for nth harmonic we can calculate frequency Fn, it is equal to, simply it will be n multiplied n into V by 2L, where V by 2L is the frequency of fundamental mode. So this is the frequency of nth mode of vibration. So you can see it there, all the frequencies are integral multiple of number n, where n is your integer here, and from here you can calculate the frequency of all modes of vibrations. N is equal to, we can write down, n is integer starting from 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this you can calculate. So thus a stretched string we can say, thus a stretched string in addition to the fundamental mode, fundamental mode also vibrates with frequencies which are integral multiples of the fundamental frequency These frequencies are known as harmonics. These frequencies are known as harmonics. Okay. This is all about the standing wave in a stretched string. When it is tied between 2 points and it is set into vibration, it can vibrate in different modes. First is known as fundamental mode, then second mode and third mode, and all the modes have different frequencies. And basically the frequency in nth mode, it will be the integral multiple of fundamental mode, means the frequency of other modes of vibration, basically they will be integral multiple of the fundamental frequency, and the frequencies other than the fundamental frequency, they are known as harmonics. So this is all about the standing wave in a string. Now we will see about the stationary waves in a air column. Okay, two cases we can take. So now we can see the next topic. The next topic is standing wave or stationary waves in air column. So the next topic is standing waves in air column. The first case I'm taking the open pipe. Suppose we have a pipe or tube, and from both the ends the pipe is open pipe. Okay, and this is the shape. Suppose let me take this open pipe first, and I am going to show you the different modes of vibrations. Let me take the open pipes. These are the pipes. Yeah, from the diagram itself you can understand very easily. Okay, 3 diagrams I'm drawing here. 1, 2, and this is your third. Okay, in the first diagram, and in case of open pipe, the ends which are open, they will be always a position of antinode, and at the center, when the air particles or when the air inside this pipe, they are set into vibration, they will vibrate. Okay, and due to the reflection of incident ray and reflected ray, uh, interference will take place, and a standing wave is produced. In the open pipe, the ends which are open, they will be always the antinode, and at the center there will be node, or in first case it will be node. But always remember, in case of open pipe, the open ends are always antinodes. Like this, the air particles are vibrating. Okay, this is known as fundamental mode of vibration. In the fundamental mode of vibration, this is the fundamental mode of vibration. Okay, here you can see it there. This is your fundamental mode of vibration. Okay, now let me make two loops here. Okay, this is known as second mode of vibration, and this is your third mode of vibration. This is your third mode of vibration. You can see it there. Okay, length we can take, the distance between, I've told you, this is your antinode or node. The distance between any two consecutive node or antinode, it is equal to lambda by 2. And in fundamental mode, the wavelength is lambda 1, so it will be equal to lambda 1 by 2. The distance between any two consecutive node or antinode, it will be equal to lambda 1 by 2. Similarly, this is your node. Here one node will be formed. This will be your antinode. Okay, this will be your antinode AN. Again, this will be your node, and this will be your antinode AN. Positions I can define. Okay, so distance, now we can calculate the distance between any two consecutive node and antinode. We know the distance between antinode and node, it is equal to lambda by 4. In this mode of vibration, suppose the wavelength is equal to lambda by 2, then this distance will be equal to lambda by 2 4. The distance between any two node, it is equal to basically lambda by 2, so it will become lambda 2 by 2, and in this case node and antinode, again it will be equal to lambda by 4, so lambda 2 by 4. Okay, similarly also here we can define, this is your antinode and this is your node, antinode and node. In this mode of vibration, suppose the wavelength is equal to lambda by 3, so it will become lambda by 3 by 4. Node and node, it is equal to lambda by 2, so it will become lambda 3 by 2, and again node and node is there, so this distance will be basically equal to lambda 3 by 2 again, and this distance between node and antinode, again it will be lambda by 4, that is lambda 3 by 4. Okay, so basically this mode of vibration, you can say this mode of vibration is fundamental mode of vibration. We can take, this is your fundamental mode of vibration, and the frequency in this case, it is known as fundamental frequency F1. The frequency of vibration in this case, it is known as fundamental frequency. Fundamental frequency. This is your second mode of vibration. Second mode of vibration. In this case, the frequency is known as, suppose frequency is F2, then this frequency, it is known as second harmonic. Second harmonic, or it is known as first overtone. First overtone. This is your third mode of vibration. The wavelength is lambda by 3. So third mode of vibration, and in this case the frequency is suppose f3, then this frequency is known as third harmonic, or simply you can call it as second overtone, and we can easily calculate overtone. If the length of the pipe is L, then we can easily calculate. For fundamental frequency, the length L will be equal to lambda 1 by 2, and from here we can easily calculate the length of each pipe. It is equal to basically L, and this is the length of the pipe. Let me choose. This is the length of the pipe or length of the tube. The length of the tube is L. So now we can easily calculate. For fundamental mode, first case I am going to calculate. First case, second case, third case that we have analyzed. In case of stationary wave in a stage string, first we can easily define what is the length. The length is equal to L, and what is the wavelength? The wavelength is lambda 1 by 2. So lambda 1 by 2, it is equal to L. So from here we can calculate the value of lambda 1. The value of lambda 1, it will be equal to 2L, and from here we can calculate the frequency. Frequency into wavelength. Frequency into wavelength is equal to speed of light. So f1 into lambda 1, it will be equal to speed of wave, speed of wave, no, a speed of light, not here, it is speed of wave. So from here we can calculate f1. So f1 will be equal to v by 2L, that is lambda 1, and lambda 1 is equal to 2L. Similarly, in second case, the length L, and what is the total, you can calculate it. Lambda 2 by 4 plus lambda 2 by 4, it will be equal to lambda 2 by 2, and lambda 2 by 2 plus lambda 2 by 2, it will be equal to basically lambda. So L will be equal to simply equals to lambda, here will be equal to lambda 2, and directly we can calculate frequency into wavelength, that is f2 into lambda 2, it will be equal to a speed of the wave in the air column. Then here we can calculate the f2, it will be equal to v by lambda 2, that is v by L. And similarly we can calculate in this case also the length L, and here you can calculate the total wavelength, the total length, it is equal to 3 times. So basically it is 3 lambda 3 by 2, and from here we can calculate lambda 3, it will be equal to 2L by 3. And similarly we can calculate frequency f3 into wavelength L3. In this case it will be equal to a speed of wave, and now we can calculate frequency f3, it will be equal to v by lambda by 3, lambda 3. So v by lambda 3, it is equal to 2L by 3. So similarly we can calculate 3v by 2L. In this way we can calculate. Similar explanation can be given for the fourth mode of vibration, and similarly for nth mode of vibration we can calculate. And when we will take the frequency, f1 ratio f2, then f3, similarly we can calculate fn, it will be equal to how much? Their multiple of v by 2L. So it is equal to v by 2L, then 2 into v by 2L into 3 into v by 2L, and similarly we can take n into v by 2L. So when you will take the ratio, this ratio will be equal to 1 ratio 2 ratio 3 ratio 4 and so on. It will be equal to n. So this is the ratio of the consequent frequency in different modes of vibration. So this is all about the stationary waves in the air column. We can similarly for the closed pipe also, standing wave in a closed pipe. Okay, closed from one end we can calculate. There is not a big issue here. We can easily calculate by giving similar explanation. So that's all from the today's topic. Thank you.